All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome to The Difference, a podcast highlighting leaders who are making a difference in their teams, their stores, and their communities. I'm Drew Huller.
Hey, everyone, and I'm Alexis Whaley. And today we have a team lead from New York. Mike talks a lot about bringing your whole self to work and kind of what he does to encourage his associates to also bring their whole self to work. He's got a lot of great tips in there, so please stay tuned and also watch out for Drew not knowing a lot about a certain topic.
Yes. I was somewhat of a fish out of water on this, on a little bit of it, but it was great to get to know Mike. He's doing a lot of great things. And what I was impressed with him, Alexis, is the way that he comes to work each and every day to make a difference in his team and his community and have a little fun doing it. So even talks a little about his TikTok career that he has going from a store perspective as well. So hope you guys enjoy this, but meet Mike.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, let's jump into your background. I'd love to just get to know you a little bit, what you did outside the company, before you started with Walmart, and then we'll kind of get into the Walmart stuff here in a bit. But if you can, just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've done and who's Mike.
Well, I guess I'm one of those jack of all trades. I've been blessed enough to do everything from entry-level cashier work to program management, handling hundreds of thousands of dollars of state money, and everything in between. I went to a private military academy, Norwich University. I was on contract to join the military. I blew out my shoulder. Didn't work out that way. So then I went into psychology. I worked with developmentally disabled adults and children for many years. And then I came back to New York and said I needed to take a break from that kind of work. It was very taxing. I suffered a lot of on-the-job injuries. And then I got into retail with Walmart, and I found a new home with Walmart. That's for sure.
For you personally, it's a pretty diverse background, a lot of different things, which is there's one thing about experiences is nobody can take experiences away from you.
Yep.
Right. They kind of carry you through. But what are some of those experiences, whether in the military academy or working in the, from a psychology perspective, anything that comes to mind that was changed the way you think or the way you act or help form you as a person?
I guess with the developmental psychology, when I really got into it working with the kids, I was a goody two-shoe in school. So I was very much one of those, I did everything the teacher wanted me to do when the teacher wanted me to do it. So it was good and eye-opening for me to see how these kids from different backgrounds handle their environment and how little control they have over it. And gave me the idea and the inspiration to try to be that rock, that consistent force. So I try to be the same person every day. I don't let things bother me that may bother others, to show that I'm the same person every day. And I found a lot of people cling to that.
Wow.
Yeah. So just the consistency and that stability that I think we all look for in some ways, right?
Yeah.
All right. So from a psychology perspective, you kind of went on working with kids and all those kind of things. Part of being a leader, you have to have a little bit of psychology too, right?
Yep.
And running teams and dealing with people and motivation and all those kind of things. How does that help you in your current role? Do you use any of that training?
I think with my psychology background, it has really given me the tools to sit back and say, okay, what works for this person doesn't work for this person. And it's given me the ability to observe and understand what kind of different teaching methods I have to use to teach and train. Because there are people that can learn just by me telling them how to do it. There are people that learn by just me saying, this is how, and you need to do it this way. It's really given me the skills necessary to step back and adjust my teaching methods to each of my individual associates. All of them get a different style of training. They all get the same training, but it's a different style.
Yeah, because they all have different ways of learning, right?
What were some of the things that you did, Mike, to kind of figure out this person needs this and this person needs this? Or some of those tactical things?
The first thing I did when I got into my team lead role was I went in and said, okay, these are the changes we're making. And I looked at the reaction. Oh. And I had a wide variety of reactions. I had a lot of angry reactions of people that had been doing the same thing the same way, and they don't like me coming in. And then I had other people that said, okay, cool. And that's kind of how I judged how I need to train and teach those associates. The ones that reacted angrily, okay, I need to step back and I need to kind of slowly bring the changes in. The ones that said, okay, well, those are the ones that got the change and started implementing it on their own to then get the other associates to do it as well.
Got it. How do you, what are some of the things you do to promote the sense of service to customers and creating that culture within your team?
I lead by example. I get a lot of my associates, they see me and they always see me. Well, they don't see me smiling because of the mask, but they hear it. I go above and beyond and out of my way to make sure our customers are taken care of in the best way that I can. And I make sure to have my associates see it. And in instances where one of my associates can take care of a situation, I encourage them, hey, let's go take care of this real quick. Let's work together so they can see how we want the interactions to be. And a lot of associates have really stepped up and into it. And I'm seeing a lot more communication with my associates to our customers and a lot more the 10-foot rule. I'm seeing a lot more of engagement in the 10-foot rule.
That's great.
It's awesome. What do you're high performing team lead, sounds like. What do you look for in a leader that leads you? Like, what do you look from your leadership?
From my leadership, I've really been lucky. I've had strong leadership across my career with Walmart. I've been with 2 different stores, and I look for the leader that gives me the tools but doesn't spoon feed it. You know, I want them to say, okay, this is what we're doing, and then let me go do it, and then teach me. One of my current leaders she said something to me. She said, you don't learn from your praises, you learn from your corrections. You know, I want to be corrected. If I'm doing something wrong, I want them to tell me so. And if I'm doing something right, well, let me keep doing it because I know what I'm doing.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a little bit of like set the goal of, hey, here's what we need to accomplish, and then let you go figure out how to get it done, how to get the team, and then correct you along the way to make sure you kind of stay on path. And I think we all want that. You know, I don't know if I've ever asked that question and said, what I really like is somebody to micromanage me. That's the type of leadership I want. You know, I've never talked to anybody who said that. I think most people want, hey, tell me the goal, tell me what you expect, and then give me the framework that I can have autonomy to work on and make decisions. And for those of us that are in leadership, that's the fun part. The fun part is getting in within the framework and being able to make things better, being able to improve, being able to innovate, being able to motivate, all those kind of things within that framework. It's not like we can go do whatever we want, but we can achieve those goals with integrity the best way we can. And that's the type of environment I think we all want to work in. And I think the challenge becomes, and you probably face this as well with your team, but the challenge becomes when things aren't going the way we want them to go, the first reaction from a human perspective, because we're all built this way, or most people, is to jump into the details, right? And to say, this is what we got to go do, this is what we got to go do. And instead of saying, all right, what's the environment I want to create so that we achieve those goals? And so the reaction inside of a store, especially if things aren't going really well, is to micromanage, because that's kind of what we call stress behavior. And we all have it. I have it. We all have it. So it's how do you fight that and create the environment that we want to have in stores, right?
You know, we've really adopted a style up at 5497 when we get into those situations. We really try to let our associates handle it. We let our associates continue to make the decisions and try not to micromanage, because at the end of the day, micromanaging really makes the stressing worse. You know, you've got your associate that you're trying to micromanage and direct, getting angry and upset. And if we need to step in, at least me personally, if I need to step in, I try to do it in a natural way rather than stepping in and saying, I'm taking over.
That's right.
I step in and how can I help?
That's
and then
right.
I let the associate tell me, well, this is how you can help. And I say, okay, well, let's work together and figure out a solution.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. That's a great way to say it, because there's times where you have to get into the details, right? There's times where you do have to step in as a leader and handle a situation with a customer or an associate or a business opportunity. But the way you do, how you do that is so, so important. So it still feels like you are asking questions, you are providing help, you're still achieving the same goal, but it's not you jumping in and saying, taking over the reins.
Exactly. And I've found by doing so, a lot of my associates have really grown into themselves and have become more confident in making decisions, knowing that rather than us stepping in and saying, well, this is how we're doing it, we kind of step in and, well, how can we help? And they've really, really become more confident in their decision making.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And that kind of feeds back into knowing your people and having those conversations to figure out, how do they respond to certain things. And Mike, I know that your environment at your store is really, it's something else. And the reason we know this is because we've seen a video of you on Workplace and it captured a lot of views. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So actually, I was scrolling through the app TikTok, and there is a team lead from another store. Her name's Lindsay from 1421 in Washington, Illinois. She's been doing a bunch of those, and for the longest time, I wanted to do something like that, and I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't think my management team would allow it. And finally, one day, I just kind of said, "Sam, I want to do it. Can I do it?" And the only response I got was, "As long as it's appropriate." So I started doing songs, and I found that a lot of the reaction has been extremely positive. I have customers wanting to come into the store more to try to catch me doing it. I have associates asking me, when are we doing the next one? What are we doing? And my one of my coaches, Coach Darcy, she's really stepped up. She's our social champ. And me and her have now partnered together, and we're trying to come up with different social media things we can do and try to make it fun and really show that the stigma that Walmart has, unfortunately, isn't a true stigma. It's a fun place to work if you come into work. We're not just numbers and doing this and being beat down as associates. We are here, and we're happy to be here.
Whoa, 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 it is finally time. Whoa, whoa, it is finally when we say goodbye to you tonight. We will close our doors throughout the night. Good evening, Walmart shoppers. The time is now 10:50 and the store will be closing in 10 minutes at 11 p.m.
No, I loved the video. The song was great too. I started singing with it and then realized that the words were different. And I was like, is he writing his own stuff? This is pretty great. Can you tell us how you started figuring out, let's match these jingles up. Let's, get a little spicy with it. I know your associates and your customers are a major fan of it.
So I actually work with my wife. My wife's a sound designer. She works with theater. She writes songs.
Cool.
I'm not the creative type. I can't just take a song and say, I'm going to change the lyrics and make it work. So I sent my wife a message, said, hey, I'm singing this song. I need lyrics, because I don't want it to be, just ripping off the song. I want to change it up to make it appropriate to our time.
Dale, nighttime come and we one go home. Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally up the customer. Nighttime come and we one go home. Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally up the customer. Nighttime come and we one go home.
What made you what made that spark in you to say, hey, I'm going to go sing on the sing on the intercom? Not everybody comes up with that idea.
Yeah.
Really, it comes down to store morale. I am very huge on associate relations and store morale and everyone being happy at work. And over the past couple of months, we've had, over a year now, We've had some real rough times and really beat down, and a lot of our associates are feeling the weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do anything I could to bring smiles and to bring laughs, and it's working.
Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Good evening, Walmart shoppers. The time is now 10:50. The store will be closing in 10 minutes at 11 p.m. We ask that you...
Hey, what's the chain around your neck?
That's just a Mjolnir, a Thor's hammer.
Oh, okay. What's that? You'll have to educate me.
So do you know the Norse gods? Thor, Odin, Loki.
Not on the top of my head.
So they're the
Alexis. Hey, first of all, Alexis, do you know? She's acting like she knows, but
I do.
You do?
You know,
okay.
But also Michael and I have something in common too. We talked a lot about it on our previous call, but Drew, I don't know if you're ready for it. So we could go down that rabbit hole, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it's gonna end.
Let's go. I'm ready. Tell me about it.
So Mike, if you want to keep going with the Norse, and then I can, just pepper in some of the fun characters that we talked about.
So the Norse thing, it's do you know the TV series The Vikings?
No, I am so out of the loop apparently.
Okay. Thor, Odin, Loki.
I know those names. I know those names from a Marvel perspective.
Yep. So they are the gods of the Norse, the Vikings, okay. And the over in Norway, Sweden.
Okay. Got it.
And I worship them. So there's Christian, there's Catholic, Jewish. I'm heathen is the terminology for it. And that's just my symbol to Thor, just like wearing a cross.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well, you look Vikingish. You look Vikingish in general with the beard and yeah. Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
I thought we were going to go down a different direction, and it was going to be Dungeons and Dragons. And
we can go that direction too. I've got dice right at my table.
So Drew, what do you know about Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, well, not a lot. That's
oh boy.
But hey, you want to talk about it? We can talk about it. I will not be any help in that conversation.
No, I think it's great though, because you talk about getting to know your associates and their personalities and figuring out what they like, and have you also kind of used some of your the fun things that you do in your personal life, and your hobbies and the things that
hobbies and your passions outside of work, right?
Yeah.
And they should and do filter in, right?
Yeah.
So with the Dungeons and Dragons, trying to filter that into, so I'm a DM. I run the games, so I've really used that whole ordeal of running a game. Your husband would know there, Alexis, is like herding cats.
Yes.
It's herding a bunch of cats, and I take that skill.
That's my job. That's my day job, by the way.
There we go.
That's exactly it. I bring those kinds of skills into the store and say, okay, this is everything we have to do. Let's figure out how to get it all done. And trying to keep that herd going in the same direction is definitely a skill that I picked up from my hobbies. So my other hobbies, I'm a volunteer firefighter. So I work with the community a lot. And that's kind of put my face out there. And a lot of people know me now because they've seen me on emergency scenes.
Sure.
And they put a little more trust in me, because they know me from those scenes.
One of the things we talk about a lot on here is the differences that we have is what makes us great. And it's celebrating those differences. But we also, a lot of times we don't allow people to bring those differences to work. And that's where I think inclusion really comes in, and their ability to, inside of your team, you and your team feel like they can bring your full self to work.
Yep.
Because it's part of their life, right? How do you draw out that inclusion in an inclusive environment across your team?
So it's kind of hard on the front end because we have our one best way. We've got to handle everything for the business as well as for our customers. I think the best way I've found to pull in the different thoughts is when we're faced with a situation, I'll ask my associates, how do you want to handle this? How would you handle this? Let's do it. Let's try it. Give them that voice into saying, well, this is how I want it handled. And we can kind of, evolve from there. We have how they handle the situation. Maybe it's not the best way, but maybe it's just a little bit of tweaking. It works better than our current way. And just by pulling in their own personal experiences on how they would handle situations, I think we really pull in their differences that way.
What do you want to do next? You're a team lead, been with the company 3 years. What's the next step for Mike?
I want to get to market level. I found eventually I love talking, clearly. I wouldn't mind getting...
You and Alexis would get along just fine.
I would love to find a way to incorporate my abilities to talk, my abilities to communicate and present myself into my career here with Walmart. But right now, I think what I want to do is I want to get to coach. I want to get to store lead, store management, market management, and see kind of where that takes me. I'm utilizing the guild program to go back to school to finish my degree.
And that is awesome. Which school are you partnering with?
I'm with Bellevue University in the Supply Chain Transportation Logistics Management course.
That's awesome. Good for you. How far along are you?
I'm about halfway done, or a little more than halfway. I'm set to graduate next year. Good for you, man.
Wow. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Make sure you stay diligent on that. Keep it up. You'll feel like a great accomplishment. That's awesome. Good. So be a coach someday and continue to increase your influence. Sounds like a great plan. Anything else? So we've had a chance to talk for a bit here, but anything that there's team leads that hear this. There's coaches, store managers. A lot of people get to see this. What would be your advice, or what would be one thing that you would like to leave them with?
So I think the biggest thing, and I've seen it from across the market, embrace the teaming. There's a lot of backlash that's come with it, that a lot of people don't like the change, don't like how it's going. My first store that I was with, 1871, we went through a light restructure and I lost my position. And I think it was a good thing. I don't think I was ready for it then. So I transferred over to 5497 and then I got a position. And even after being displaced, I still saw teaming as a good thing. It's giving the opportunity to the associates, especially up here where there's not many transfer opportunities to grow and to promote. The idea that teaming gives everyone the skills necessary. Whereas in the old way, if you were a cashier, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity. You could go to be CSM. You didn't learn mods. You didn't learn price changes. You didn't learn, there is a lot of opportunity in teaming. And teach your associates, and then let your associates teach you. I can't tell you how much I've learned from my associates just from asking them, "Hey, how are we going to do this? How do you want to do this?" It's definitely been eye-opening for me, and I think there's been a lot of unnecessary pushback against teaming.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all that you're doing. You're clearly making a difference in your community, being a volunteer firefighter. But in your store as well, making a difference with your customers and with your team. So I just want to say personally, thank you for what you're doing, how you're leading the team, how you're approaching your job. I think it's going to be inspiring to a lot of people. So I appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure. I really do enjoy it.
That's awesome, man.
As always, thank you for shopping with us at your local Evans Mills Walmart. And don't forget to love each other. Have a nice night.